There are two important studies published recently on rotational TLE. That's the PROMET and the RELEASE study. The PROMET study is a multi-center retrospective study with more than 2,200 patients and almost 4,000 targeted leads. The RELEASE study is a multi-center prospective international study with 230 patients and 460 targeted leads. Both studies basically show that rotational TLE is safe and effective. The PROMET study has shown that a major complication rate of 1% and a operative mortality of 0.2% can be achieved using rotational TLE technique. So the RELEASE study is not only a prospective multi-center study, but it's also a study where all data was monitored by an independent service. All complications were adjudicated by a clinical events committee, and also follow-up data was collected. So we have a very solid study design, which actually leads to very solid evidence. You see that rotational TLE is safe, again, but also highly effective. And it's important to understand that the median implant duration of the leads extracted in the RELEASE study was relevantly higher than in a lot of other published studies. When talking about safety, it's important to mention that in the RELEASE study, no extrapericardial isolated SVC injury was reported. This is very important because the RELEASE study is mainly a study on rotational TLE, since roughly 90% of the targeted leads were extracted using rotational lead extraction sheath, the Evolution RL device. So with this data from the PROMET study and also the RELEASE study, we can see that there is a very good safety profile. If you look into the issue of SVC injury and you look into the data that was published in the recent years, it becomes more and more evident that the rate of SVC injury is relevantly higher when using a laser sheath. Therefore, especially if you're starting a lead extraction program, rotational TLE is more forgiving in the hands of an unexperienced extractor with regard to the so feared SVC injury.
I think it all starts with a good preparation, and you need a plan. And I think we are more conscious about that nowadays. So for us it's very important. All patients are, the procedure are done under general anesthesia. I'm a cardiologist, so there's always a surgeon really stand by, and we are working in a hybrid cath lab. So I think that's very important to start with. You need a plan and you need a good facility. You need good X-ray, it's very important. So that's why a hybrid room, I prefer a hybrid room instead of an OR. A very important improvement is done by the design of the TLE from unidirectional to bidirectional. So I think that that gave a good improvement in the efficacy of the tool. So with a 80% success rate, complete success rate improved to 95 to 98%. Let's say 10 years ago, the majority of indication was infection, and now 60 to 70% is non-infectious reasons, and very often because you want to do an upgrade or a revision. For instance, the subclavian vein can be occluded and you want to extract a lead to get new entrants. So there you really see a change, and that's also why you see an increase in lead extractions nowadays. And it becomes a more important procedure, so you need experienced doctors to do these procedures. At the moment, the results of the PROMET trial and the RELEASE trial, and they are fully aligned with our own experience in Zwolle, they show that there is a very high efficacy of this device, and even more important, a very good safety profile. Can we improve that better? I think it's hard to improve that, so that is a challenge. But what can be an improvement is maybe that it will be easier to cut the leads and to get down. But for me, the most important thing is a safety issue. And one of the things I think we learned the last few years, that this now what we are doing a little bit more is a hybrid approach to make it more safe. So you can, with the femoral snare, you can grab the lead from below, and then you can pull the lead so that the rail, so the lead is working more as a rail, is more tight and more stable. And that particularly can be, so this hybrid approach, cutting from above but pulling the lead from below, can really make the procedure more safe, especially talking about also trying to avoid a tear in the SVC, because there you have to make the curve.
As we've seen with the results of the PROMET and the RELEASE study, and as Dr. Delnoy said, it's well aligned with our own experience. Rotational TLE provides high efficacy while exhibiting excellent safety profile. I think this is a very important fact, especially if you think about the change in indications shifting towards more non-infectious indications, which are usually class 2A or class 2B indications, of course, where you should do a good shared decision-making process with the patient. But if you extend into these indications, of course, safety becomes, I don't know if you can say that, but becomes even more important. And therefore, using rotational TLE in these patient groups certainly is a benefit.